I am Zach Robinson, and
I'm Leo Birenberg.
And we are the composers for TV shows and movies. We do Cobra Kai, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, Twisted Metal, Weird Al Yankovic Story. What else we got?
Exhaustive list.
Oh, good.
For people who are not very familiar with your positions, can you give us like a typical day in the life?
Wake up crying.
Wake up, eat 4 strips of turkey bacon, 2 chicken sausages, and 2 soft-boiled eggs. Sit down in front of the computer, start banging on it until music comes out, and something kind of makes you think like, hey, that might be a good idea, and then you start singing it to yourself, and next thing you know, you're like 4 minutes deep in like some epic orchestral odyssey. That's just how every day goes.
Leo has a pretty good adage that it's like when you're composing with our job, you have to write music very, very fast, and you have to write a lot of it. So very often writing music is like turning on a faucet for us. We turn it on, music comes out. Sometimes it's yellow gook, and then sometimes it's beautiful crystalline water.
But like it's the point of the message is that it's like a muscle that you exercise, and so what you think might be a yellow gook day is actually probably pretty good because you're so trained in doing it.
This is not the visceral image I thought of with composing.
We're imagining tortured artists
Yeah.
standing over a piano late at night, like, like drinking whiskey and talking in Russian by candlelight as they wrestle with their demons and music.
It's not us.
Yeah.
That's what makes us not geniuses.
That's another image of composers that I did not think, so now it's in my head. Do you go and search out this music on your own, or you kind of look at your own catalog of music? Like, how do you start?
Oh, it's always we love to research new music when we're starting up a new project. That's actually maybe the most fun part of a project is when we get to decide kind of like what score route do we want to try to go down, and that often starts with a research period. It could be a week, it could be a month of just like finding.
It might last the whole show.
Like just finding like some vibes that we like. We share Spotify playlists. It's also very collaborative sometimes with the filmmaker. But Cobra Kai in particular, maybe I was a little more than Leo, but now Leo is definitely an 80s aficionado. But that was kind of my jam through college and everything. So we went into that kind of like pretty hard, knowing kind of what we wanted the sound to be. But now Leo's an expert.
So when you started off with Cobra Kai, was there like a particular group or song that you thought of immediately, and then you just build off of that?
Yeah, DAD.
DAD was my project.
Zach's synthwave project in college. NPR's best cassette of 2013.
Oh, thank you, Leo.
Yes,
Wow.
I push that every
Leo
time
and my
I
mom
can.
pushed that the most. We went and we were like, certain soundtracks we wanted to emulate: Bloodsport,
Yeah,
Rocky
Bloodsport,
IV, Karate Kid. There were elements of Kickboxer.
Yeah, those Paul Herzog.
Paul
scores
Herzog,
are-
amazing composer. I've never heard of him, but he did some of your favorite 80s movies.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of for Cobra Kai in particular, that's kind of where we were. And of course, there is a very orchestral kind of classic film score sound to the Karate Kid, which we were also trying to bring to our sound.
And then for Spider-Man, you mentioned about lo-fi, which I actually do really love lo-fi. So can you talk about more of that?
I think it's just something that we like to listen to independently. Like there's a lot of like creative stuff that happens in the lo-fi space because it's a lot of like not big music producers make a lot of it, and it's got this whole homegrown feeling to it. It felt very Spider-Man to us because like when the show starts, like Peter's wearing like a homemade Spider-Man suit. Like everything about Spider-Man is like a lo-fi superhero. He's just kind of gets more and more legit as the story goes on. And so, I don't know, it felt like a natural match.
And we also imagine like Peter Parker just listening to
yeah,
that.
exactly.
Like he's just a kid, he's just a teen, and like teens love lo-fi. It's like a kind of defining feature of the score is not the action stuff necessarily, but like a lot of the kind of slice of life stuff, like him on the streets, him at school with his friends, like a lot of the side characters it's like based in lo-fi. It's cool.
So when you get stuck and the water faucet isn't working anymore, is there like your go-to source for inspiration that people might be surprised at?
Probably something not musical.
Yeah, no,
Like,
for real.
truly, like
A book?
Yeah, go read a book, listen to an audiobook. I like to hang out in my garden and like tend my plants, like, because that stuff is what actually refills the pot. I think if you like try to listen to too much music to write music, like, you just kind of end up in like a creative burnout.
Yeah, it's tough because like I think that we write so much music. But we're proud of the majority of the music we write, but I think there's this kind of like top 5% of like the music that we consider kind of exceptional, and that's part of it is just us being hard on ourselves and like setting a certain standard. But we also expect the projects that we work on at this point in our careers to like bring the best out in us, you know. So that's kind of as we move forward in our careers, it's like we're trying to find these things where it's like the water always comes out and it's good water. It's the crystalline water. So that's that's what we're trying.
And only because I think it's really cute. Is there a particular flower that always seems to inspire?
I'm really more of a vegetable guy, but if we're gonna go into flowers, I'm really into this plant called borage, which is it has these beautiful blue flowers, and it's really good to plant next to everything else in your garden because pollinators come and are attracted to it. So I just grew like trays of borage seeds, and then I plant them all over the garden so that the bees are happy.
What would be something that that casual listeners or watchers to the show would not necessarily be aware of that you're proud of that you put into the music?
Usually just the music.
The music, yeah.
Like,
well, because often think about it when you're watching something. Sometimes the music's mixed pretty low. Like you're not necessarily always thinking about the music, which is kind of part of just what our job entails. Is like, you know, you watch a lot of people are watching on iPads or laptops, and the sound is just not going to kind of come through the way that it does in a movie theater, for example. So if the music is mixed like really, we say hot, it's mixed really loud. Like in Cobra Kai, it's incredibly loud. We're really proud that people get to hear that because we put a lot of work. Well, Cobra Kai was a big part of our lives. We spent 7 years on it. We're done now. It's over. But I think if people just we love when people recognize the musical references that we make, the little musical Easter eggs. Hey, like I recognize like they must have been inspired by this piece of music. Like
yeah, we like that.
For Cobra Kai, like recently, like we were very inspired by Final Fantasy VII soundtrack, and like we had a few like people being like, "Wait a second, it sounds a little bit like Final Fantasy VII," and I was like, "You got it."
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your composer life and everything. Thank you so much.
Very nice to meet you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.